What's going on, Illumineers, and welcome back to the madness. Today is the start of something new on the channel because I am having the hardest time finding all these cards, and I think a lot of other people are too. So what's going to happen is at the end of every day, I'm going to record all the cards, put them in one video, talk about them, and then it's going to be published in the morning on the 24th. So you can kind of get all the cards in one place, and then let me know in the comments how right or wrong I am about the card. But with that being said, before we start talking about them, don't forget I'm doing that giveaway. I'm going to link the video in the description. Just go to that video, like, comment, and then remember you have to be subscribed to have your chance at the Trove being sponsored by Safari Zone Collectibles, and then the Stitch collector set and the playmats out of my own pocket. So go check it out, guys. It's free stuff. You don't lose anything. All right, I'm just giving stuff away. That's all we're doing. But let's knock it out, guys. The first card we're looking at, Transport Pod. Okay, we have a 1 cost, an inkable, so we're already super happy, and it's an item. At the start of your turn, you may move a character of yours to a location for free or give them a show. Now, looking at this card, it's really interesting because Green Purple is a deck, right? Where it's a very toolboxy deck where you have a lot of cards that you can kind of rotate in and out, you can move, and we've seen a lot of these toolboxy type decks. So Transport Pod might be able to find its way in there really well where you don't need it, but if you see it, you're not super upset because you can play the castle, and we've seen that decks have a really hard time dealing with castle in one turn. So you play the castle, and then on turn 5, if you've had Transport Pod down already, then you can move a character there. You're asking for a lot, but it is a possibility. You could play it in maybe one of the green-yellow deck because it has some new locations there, Rapunzel's Tower, Pride Lands. It has the new super rare location where um, I don't remember what it does off the top of my head because we haven't revealed it, but there's the new super rare location where it costs 6 to move a character there. So maybe you use Transport Pod, you can ignore that 6. So do I see it being a meta defining deck anytime soon? No, I don't. But I'm sure we're going to see our great deck builders come in and do something pretty neat with it. But there's possibilities. I mean, it can even do something with Hidden Cove. And all of a sudden, if you're running like a tempo green steel deck, you can use Transport Pod and all move them, start moving cards to Hidden Cove for free. You know, it only costs 1, but it's still a possibility. But I think the most interesting thing with this will be Transport Pod working with the new super rare Amber location that costs 6 to move there. I think there's a lot of possibility there. So we'll see how it goes. Off the top of my head, if I was to give it a rating, I'd go 2 out of 5. I think it's definitely not useless. Like we're gonna see some niche play with it, but I don't think it's gonna be a standard card in anything. So I think 2 out of 5. We'll see. So the next card on the list, we have a 4 cost inkable, 3/3/2 Raya, and come on, let's do this. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may ready another chosen character of yours. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. It's a rare, but it's a Storyborn, a hero, and a princess. Now, one thing this may seem really familiar about is Sven from Shimmering Skies. The difference here is that Sven was only when you play him, and that's it. You only got his effect one time, so he was a 3/3/2, but he was only useful once. Whereas Rhea, she's not. She can be useful the turn you play her, as long as you haven't inked yet. So she won't be useless on turn 4 because if you play her on turn 4, then you've already inked. But on turn 5, on turn 6, like all the rest of them, she can start using her ability. So this gives you more reach with aggro because now you can quest with that, that aggro card that has really low health, and then now you ready it. So unless they're playing a steel type deck, there's really not a lot they can do. There's Pinocchio, right? They could use Pinocchio to, exert it, but really there's not a lot of options out there outside of steel that are going to be able to attack that aggro character now. And so I think Rhea has some possibility in some type of red aggro deck. The problem is being that what kind of red aggro cards are there? When we think about it, though, a lot of aggro, it has its main core, and then there's just some tech cards thrown in there. So maybe it has the ability to be thrown into some, well, just a lot of different aggro type decks, and we just throw in some few red cards, and we call it a day. The other interesting thing is she is a princess, so she works with the Queen Censor Core, and that's the one where you get a lore at the start of your turn if you have a princess in play, and a hero, so she works with Phil. So there's options here. I think she is a really unique card. I think she can be really useful for aggro. We've seen decks like Boomy Jr. running Sven really well on his aggro steel song list. So I think she has some opportunity. We'll go. I think she's gonna see play. Will she be everything? I don't think so because she's red. But I guess there's Simba. So there's options, but I'm gonna go to three. We'll go 3 out of 5 with this one. All right. We'll see if we get more lenient as these videos go on. Next up on the list, though, we have Mertle Edmonds, Lilo's rival. She's a 1-cost inkable 1/3 quest for 1. Get out of the way before I run you over. I'm always happy to see more Lilo and Stitch cards. My wife and I are huge Stitch fans, right? So anytime we get to see more cards, we're super happy. As far as is this card ever going to see play? No, I don't think it will. I don't think it sees play in literally anything. Green's not, they're not hurting for 1-cost cards because they don't need them, right? Like they have their 1-cost Diablo, maybe their green steel, so they're the 1-cost Robin Hood, but they just don't really need any 1-cost cards like this. It doesn't help them in any way that I can think of off the top of my head. So as much as I'm happy to see more Lilo and Stitch cards, I think she's just a I think she's just going to be a 1 out of 5. So maybe I'm being too tough on my scoring. Maybe we'll change it up. 1 out of 5 be no, we'll see. We'll play with it. But 1 out of 5. Next up on our list, we have a 3-cost uninkable. We have Mama or Kanga. All right, I'm not even gonna try and say French. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna give you guys the English definition. But a 3-cost uninkable Kanga, nurturing mother. She is a 2/4/1, and she says whenever this character quests, choose a character of yours, and that character can't be challenged until the start of your next turn. So what's really cool about this is that it's a lot like Sven, right? It's a lot like Sven. It's a lot like Raya, except she's coming down on turn 3, and she only quests for 1. So, but what she opens up is this ability that um, you can start questing with your daisies, your Pinocchios that quest for 3, your Simbas that quest for 3. All of these really cheap or low willpower cards or low esque willpower cards, and now they can't be challenged, and that's so big. Now, what is this gonna have? If you ran Kanga, then you have to be aware that you're not really going to be able to run Blues, right? Or you're going to have to cut something because she's uninkable. And those purple yellow decks already run a lot of uninkables. And the 3-drop spot can start getting really full. So is she worth getting rid of Blue for? And that's the question, right? Where I'll be interested to see. I'm definitely gonna excited to try her because she does open up those opportunities where if you're not playing Steel, you're gonna have a hard time getting through this. And what's really nice about it is that even when you run Baloo, it's really easy for someone to just kill your Baloo and then kill to take out your to then take out your 1-cost card or whatnot. Whereas with this, they just can't. It can't be challenged when she quests. So they have to answer this, otherwise you're going to get invincible cards. And I think that's pretty cool. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. I think it will see play in aggro definitely in the beginning, and then we'll kind of see what happens from there if Baloo ends up coming back or some of these other 3-cost aggro cards we are seeing. So love to see Kanga. Look at that artwork too. God, we love kangaroos. So next up, we have some more aggro. We have Zipper. He is a 3 cost inkable, a 2/2/2. But God, do we hate to see it ward? Okay, God, I despise the keyword ward. But let's carry on. Okay, run interference during your turn. Whenever a card is put into your inkwell, another chosen character gains resist 1 until the start of your next turn. This is big, right? This is really interesting for these aggro decks because now we have this ability, almost this Cogsworth-esque type ability. It's definitely not Cogsworth, right? Cogsworth giving +1 resist to everything, but he is giving you that +1 resist that can open a lot of doors. Your cards with only 1 willpower now are a little bit harder to deal with, even for steel, because they have to be like, let the Storm Rage on doesn't kill anything now. And that's a really big deal. And the fact that he has Ward can be really important as well. So it's it's interesting. And the other thing is, let's say you're running blue steel, where I think this card will see play in aggro, but I think it has an opportunity in something like blue steel as well, because blue steel is just trying to get that early lore, right? They need the early lore so they can get to 10 lore. 10 lore is like that really magic number because now everyone is within that range of aerial dime. So what Zipper's allowing us to do is now um now you play Zipper, he's questing for 2. Steel Song can't just take him out with a song because he has Ward. So he's just difficult to deal with. He's annoying to deal with because you have Ward. I don't think he's ever a character that just sits there and doesn't do anything because the resist +1 is cool, but the questing for 2 is even bigger. So I could see him having some kind of utility even in these control type blue steel lists because he has he has the ability to get that early lore that Blue Steel needs and wants so much. Even I mean even into Blue Red, like he's still going to be a really good card because he can't be brawled, he can't be Medusa, whatever it may be. So one thing that I will have to figure out another chosen character. So I'm pretty sure the fact that it says another means it can't be him. I'm 99% certain. So um, but yeah, I'd love to see Zipper. Um, we're gonna go 3 out of 5. Yeah, we'll go 3 out of 5 for Zipper. I think he's gonna see play. Just again, not gonna be super defining. Not gonna be a 4 of, I don't think. But I definitely see him seeing play. It's really the 3 cost that makes it difficult. Even in Blue Steel, that 3 cost, that's a lot because Blue Steel you're looking to play Flaversham, right? Or not Flaversham, but Quill or Mickey or any card that gets you ink. So probably not blue steel. So maybe aggro, but 3 is maybe aggro. We'll stick with 3 though. We'll stick with a rating of 3. All right. So moving on, we have Diablo, Obedient Raven. He is a 1 cost inkable, a 0/1. Whenever this character is banished, you may draw a card. One quest for 1. I, man, I hate to see it, right? Another cantrip for purple and a really good one. I think brooms are gone, right? I think Diablo comes out the gate and says, hey, goodbye, brooms. Your only purpose now is in a broom deck. And I think Diablo just takes the cake, right? I don't think it replaces Chernobog's because Chernobog's is that 2 is just really good, right? The 2 attack. But on Diablo, that ability to just draw a card, like one of the things that makes the 2 cost Cusco so effective is it only quests for 1, but no one wants to kill it because you get to draw a card. And the Diablo is going to be the same way. No one's going to want to kill your Diablo because they don't want you to draw a card. So he just sits there and he quests for 1, and quests for 1, and quests for 1. So I think Diablo is incredibly good. I think we're going to see him in every purple deck because he's just we love drawing cards. Like you're never upset about this. It is the best cantrip in my opinion. Sure, Broom has more late game ability because you get to play it And in this very same turn, you can draw a card if you have the ink to play another card. But no, I think Diablo is absolutely phenomenal. I think we see it in every purple list. That ability to just draw a card is huge. He's a very easy 4 for me. 4 out of 5 on the rating scale. Uh, he doesn't win purple games. That's the only reason I won't give him 5. But he very much he will be in every purple deck. I can't imagine a reason why you wouldn't throw him in a purple deck. So yeah, good game, purple. I'm glad. I'm sure you're all very glad to see this. So next up, we have another purple card. We have Mad Hatter. All right, I'm super pumped to see a Mad Hatter card. But what do we got here? We have a 1-cost Inkable. He is a 1/1 quest for 1. We'll have to look into this. Whenever this character quests, you may look at the top card of your chosen player's deck, put it on top of their deck, or into their discard. So, what is so cool about this card is we're starting to see more and more mill opportunities. Now, is Mad Hatter a great mill card? No, no, because to make him effective, you're gonna have to do all these like bouncing mechanics. And is that what you want to be using your bounce on? Probably not. He's a fun card. Will he see play? Probably not. But I'm super excited to see a card called Mad Hatter. The more Mad cards we see, the happier I will be. I would say a 2. 2 because people are probably going to try him just because of that ability. He can be used offensively in the sense that you play him to look at your top card, so you can kind of dig a little in your deck. But there's just better options, like actual draw that turn, whatever it may be. So I think there's just way better cards that you can run. I'm going to go 2 because I can't give Mad Hatter 1. And I think people will try him just to do silly combo stuff with. But yeah, we'll go 2 out of 5. Probably should give it a 1, but I can't. I can't do it to my boy Mad Hatter. So moving on, we have a name I'm gonna mispronounce. I'm gonna call him Yoki. That's not right. I know. Butcher me in the comments. Moving on. He's a 9-cost inkable, so he's a big boy, but he has 6 attack and 10 willpower. Like, oh my god, he's a big boy. He shifts for 6 and then his effects neurotransmitter. You may play items named Microbots for free, which is huge. Technical gain. Whenever this character quests, draw a card for each opposing character with 0 attack, and he quests for 2. This card is so cool. Like, the artwork is really cool. I can see this being an enchanted card. He's a villain, but he's also an inventor. So we're seeing a lot of inventor keywords. That 610, like, you're not in no world are you ever going to be able to ice block them. Like, they have to, red blue would have to have all 3 ice blocks, and the odds of that are so slim. So you have to answer them with Maleficent Dragon, World's Greatest Criminal Mind, Hades, Let It Go. Your options are very limited. All right, because you're never attacking this, right? Like, you would have to put so much into it to be able to take this out. So if this card gets down, it's massive. The only problem is if I was to pull up, and I can't, if I was to pull up something, what kind of cards can he shift off of would be my question. Okay, so there's a 4-cost inkable that is a 3/3/2. Whenever this character quests, you may return one of your items to your hand to pay 2 less. Oh, okay. So that was revealed this set. We'll talk about it another time for sure. But that card is actually a playable shiftable target, a 3/3/2, and then he works with items that is phenomenal, costing 4, and then 2 turns later you can shift with this. But honestly, you're probably shifting the next turn because you've probably played something like Quill, you've probably played some kind of ramp card. So this card is probably coming down on turn 5, and that you get a 6/10/2 on turn 5, and then this draw power that he had, like, you may play items named Microbots for free, which we'll talk about that in a second. Like, this is a card that you'll build decks around. Does he fit into something like blue steel, like the typical blue steel? No. Does he fit into any typical deck we have right now? No. This card will be the focus around other decks. Like this will be an auto include in the Inventor decks. It's so this card is massive and only for a rare. I think that's really cool. Now, how do we rate it though? Like how good is it going to be? That's the question. If you get it down turn 5 because you run Fishbone Quills, uh, that's the question, and that's where I don't think he wins games. I want to go 4 because he is what you'll build decks around. Like this idea of Inventor, this idea of Microbots, this idea of being able to shift this out. Like you will build decks for this character. So we'll give him a 5. Actually, we'll give him a 5. We're going to give him a 5 because I don't have anything else to base my 5s off yet. I think he might be a high 4, but we're going to go 5. And you guys, again, butcher me in the comment for saying for 5 and saying his name wrong as well. But we'll see. I'm excited for this one. It's gonna be a good one. So next up, we have Tadashi Hamada. He is a 3-cost on Inkable, a 2/2/2. Listen to this ability, though. Someone has to help. During an opponent's turn, whenever this character is banished, you may put the top card of your deck into your Inkwell face down. Then put this card into your Inkwell face down. Okay, so this is really interesting because now for a 3-cost, which right now your 3-cost in a lot of blue decks is Mickey Mouse or Fishbone Quill. Mickey Mouse saying put the top card of your deck onto your Inkwell. Tadashi is a 3-cost 2/2/2, so you're questing for 2, but it's kind of like the Diablo or the Cusco for purple. Is people don't want to kill him because you're going to get 2 ink out of it. At the same time, how much can they afford to let you continue to quest when they know if you're playing blue steel, you're only trying to get to 10 lore typically? So it starts to play that game. It starts to play that race. Now, one thing we learned about races, though, in 2 lore is look at Queen's Castle. As a Steel Song player, when someone plays a Queen's Castle, I don't really care. Like, there's no part of me that ever says, Queen's Castle, I'm super scared. I'm just like, okay. I look at a Queen's Castle and I think, okay, there's 10 lore coming from that ability or from Queen's Castle. It's just a race now. And that's how I look at Tadashi. If someone plays Tadashi, I'm just going to ignore it the whole game. I'm just going to let them quest for 2 because I don't really care. And when it gets to the point that it's too much, I can take care of it with literally anything, and I just give them two ink that they would have wanted way earlier. For that reason, Blue's trying to do too many things early on where they need that early ink. They need that ink so much. And it's for that reason that I don't think this ever, in the typical list that we have right now, it ever replaces any of our Fishbone Quills, our Mickey Mouses, or anything like that. The one jumps ahead, any of those cards, because it just becomes too slow for blue having to ramp. If blue can't ramp, they just die. They die to aggro, they die to Steel Song. Like they just the opponent gets to 20 lore before their ink matters because they couldn't ramp in time. And that's what happens with Tadashi. So even if you attack into your opponent, you don't get that 2 lore yet. So it just feels kind of bad, right? Um, but he is an inventor, so we could see him in inventor decks, being a mentor as well. So I'm gonna go 3. I think that may be generous. I think he may be a 2. Um, but it's hard to say what all these inventor decks are going to do. But I don't think he replaces Mickey Mouse's, and I don't think he ever replaces Quills. I think he's not fast enough for how Blue has to ramp and what they need to do. And honestly, Red Blue, they don't care about that 2 lore. That 2 lore is useless to them. So I don't think they would ever run it. I 99% positive they would never run it. So it really comes down to what the other blue decks do. And Blurple, I don't see them doing it. Blue Steel, I don't really see them doing it. So we're gonna go with a 2. I changed my mind. All right, we're going with 2. We're giving Tadashi a 2. I know he looks exciting. We're going 2. Next up, Holy crap, it's Tadashi. All right. Yeah, we got Tadashi Hamada again. He is a 6 cost inkable, a 3/3/3. All right. Let's get back to work. This character gets +1 attack and +1 willpower for each item you have in play. This is a tanky boy, okay? Because when you're playing blue, you're playing a lot of items, and the whole idea behind the Inventor set is items. So when this card comes down, he is not a 3/3/3. He is most likely a 6/6/3. So he is just a beefy, beefy boy. And what's even cooler about this is you can kind of manipulate it as well if you needed to manipulate it. Meaning, if you have like items, you can typically destroy them, right? Whether it's Flaversham, whether they have the ability to just destroy the item. So maybe you're playing Steel and you think they're playing World's Greatest Criminal Mind. You don't let them get to 5. You let them sit at 4 when it goes to your opponent's turn. You're playing against an Ice Block deck, so you want to get them really, really high so they can't take care of them. Um, the fact is that Tadashi's going to be a big boy, and he comes down really early. I think he's going to be a very big play. And excuse me, looking at the fact that he's going to be in Inventor decks and they're playing so many items, I think this is I think this is a very worthwhile card. So I'm gonna go 4. Um, Not based off of any decks we really have right now. Like, to be perfectly honest, maybe a red blue item deck runs them, but I doubt it because they don't really care about the 3 lore, and he doesn't impact the board immediately. And red blue item decks need to impact the board immediately. But maybe in the Inventor deck, he's no. We're not going 4 either. I'm being too fast, guys. I'm reacting too fast. Okay, we're gonna go 3. We're gonna go 3 because he doesn't do anything when he comes to the board immediately, and that can be a dangerous thing for blue decks. Blue decks are slow to start, so that means when their later cards, they have to be able to impact the board immediately. So we're gonna go 3 because I'm excited for what he can do in Inventor decks, and that's what we'll stick with. But that is a beefy boy. Beefy boy. So, Microbots. This card is really important. It's a 2 cost inkable item, limitless applications. You may have any number of cards named Microbots in your deck. Inspired Tech. When you play this item, chosen character gets -1 for this turn for each item named Microbots you have in play. So, first off, right off the bat, Microbots and Dalmatian deck. Blue, yellow, you can have any amount of Dalmatians, any amount of Microbots. What could go wrong, right? But with that, you have to remember that with Microbots, when we look at this guy, whenever this character quests, draw a card for each opposing character with 0. So that means if you start just playing these and he quests, then if you have 4 of these down, or let's say you have these down and all your opponent's characters get to 0, you get to draw a whole bunch of cards. So now you don't have to only depend on Flaversham, and that's really impactful. So this to play this card, of course, I don't want to say you have to play the other one, but um like you don't have to play the other one, but at the same time they go really well together. I could even see this being in the red blue item decks because some of the items they play they just never use. But if you play this, then it gives you the ability. It's a 2 cost item, so it's cheaper than a lot of other items that they're running. And then chosen character gets -1 this turn for each item named Microbots. So that could add up a lot, and all their characters just aren't getting anything now. So that could be impactful. Is Microbots on his own super good? No, you're not replacing your popsicles, your fortispheres, your like a lot of these other items, but there are items that would replace. It could have an impact in red blue items. It could have an impact in the inventors. If we give if we give this guy a 4, then we have to get. Did we? Oh, I don't even remember. I think we said 5. I think we said 5. I think 4 is more accurate. But Microbots, we'll go ahead. Um, we'll sit him at whatever rank we gave the other gentleman. All right. Not because Microbots is broken, but to play the other one, you have to play Microbots. Maybe that's a good enough reason that okay, they're both 4s. They're both 4s. That's it. I've made my call. Made my decision. Moving on. Megabot. Okay, a 2 cost uninkable item Happy Face. This item enters play exerted and destroy. Tap this item, exert this item, banish this item. Choose one. Banish chosen item, banish chosen damaged character. So we have an Ana, right, with one less ability. I think Ana's other ability is that she would also um, banish an item, right? What did she do? No, chosen character gets +2. Banish chosen damage character, and each opponent chooses and discards a card. So really, banish chosen damage character is really good. That's awesome. Uh, I give Megabot a 1. Unfortunately, I don't ever see green wanting to waste 2 ink on playing this card. I don't see them wanting to play the uninkable just to do what Ana does, but Ana at least quests for 2. So when you play Ana, you have the ability to do a lot of different things and quest for 2. So Megabot, I'm unfortunately going to give a 1. I just don't see it ever making play in anything. Even maybe Calfasa, I don't really see it there either. Oh, no, we'll go 1. We'll go 1. All right, moving on. So, Tuk Tuk. Tuk Tuk, Tuk Tuk. Tuk Tuk, 5 cost, inkable. Tuk Tuk, big buddy. He's a 6/5/1 with nothing else. Okay, storyboard ally. Tuk Tuk, in my opinion, is a filler card. Unfortunately, as much as I love the character, as much as my wife loves the character, he is a 1. I just don't see him ever seeing play in anything. Um, you know, could you guys imagine though? What if there was a 6/5 character with Rush? How crazy would that be, right? A 6/5 character, inkable as well with Rush. Broken, right? Just unbelievably good. But no, needless to say, Tuk Tuk does not have Rush. He's just a 6/5/1. Unfortunately, I believe he's only a rating of 1/5. But hey, you're cutie, buddy. We love you. So next up on our list, we have another Scar. He is a 6 cost uninkable, a 4/4/2 Rush and Challenger +3. Guys, this card, Cold Foil, gorgeous. I can't wait to see this card in cold foil. But let's talk about the card. What's really interesting is he's a sorcerer. That's pretty interesting. I don't know what that impacts, but it's interesting. Now, Rush Challenger +3. When he comes down, he can kill a lot, right? He's essentially a Hercules for red. And with that, the Challenger +3 is great. He can quest for 2 afterwards. So he has some utility. He's a Maui with 1 less health, but he can quest for 2. There's utility here, but he's not inkable. If we look at purple, it Fox, Crab, I don't really see it replacing Crab because Crab works on Cusco's, Diablos, whatever it may be. But I see him possibly making some niche play. The problem is that he's a 6 cost on Inkable, and in something like Red Purple, your 6 cost is already really full. You have Tremaines, you have Medusas, and they just do what they do really well. I mean, so do you ever replace them for Scar? I don't think so. Not when you can run Maui. Like 7 breakpoint is good for Castle, but what what breakpoint is it good for otherwise? So I don't know. I don't really see him slotting into things very well. In Blurple, we're running Hades on 7, but we're normally at 7 ink by turn 5 or 6. Um, so I love the card. He's going to be super beautiful. He's beautiful to look at. 4/4/2 is a good stat line. I'm going to go 3. Um, I'm gonna go 3 because of the 4 attack. Like he offers utility there. He quests for 2. Um, so he might see something. Uninkable though just kills me. He's maybe more of a 2, but we'll go 3. All right. Um, hey, they say good looks doesn't get you much, but it is for Scar. So, all right. So we'll end each day with a card of the day. The card out of all of these that I'm most excited for. Um, and for me, it's not based off of its ability. It's not based off of how great it is. It is based solely off of the card itself. And we're going with Mama here. We're going with the Mama Kangaroo. We're going with Kanga, the Nurturing Mother. So, ladies and gents, this is my pick of card of the day. I just love kangaroos. Okay, I've never been to Australia to see one out in the wild, but they're just so cool. Like, who doesn't love Rue? And I mean, it's great, and her ability is just not awful. You know, whenever this character quests, choose a character of yours, and that character can't be challenged until the start of your next turn. It's not awful. It's good. It's not bad. It's somewhere in between. And it's just a really cool card. Will it be enchanted? I can't imagine it would be, but the cold foil will look nice. You got that pretty background. But so this is my card of the day. But with that being said, everyone, um, first time doing something like this. So let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna keep doing more regardless, but let me know how I could have done it better. Am I too lenient on my ratings? Maybe I need to get an actual rating system down. But yeah, let me know in the comments the names I said wrong, the ones that I was way too lenient on or way too harsh on because I missed some combos or whatever it is. But I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to check out the giveaway. That video will be in the description. I love you guys. Keep kicking butt. Remember, we're staying happy and healthy. Until next time.